Yeah, like it's tough to say. Which I won't comment on, which has been awesome, and I'll explain what I mean by that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Rouge Rugby podcast, where we talk about real Canadian rugby. I'm Stu Hardy, joined by Jeff Robinson and Ed Pye, and today we have another very special guest. He is Canadian's finest front row player. That's what he told us to say. He is a three-time MLR champion and currently playing in France. It is Andrew Quattrin. Andrew, thank you for joining us today.
No, thanks for having me. Like we were chatting before, it's good to see the Rouge Rugby still going, and no, thanks a lot. It means a lot having me on.
Wonderful to have you too. So when we have these kind of interviews, we always begin with some questions just to break the ice and just to get us a bit of understanding of how it all began. So Andrew, what got you started in rugby?
Yeah, grade nine. I went to Bill Crothers in grade nine at school in Markham, Ontario. Um, and yeah, football was on during hockey. I played a lot of hockey growing up, and I kind of needed a summer sport. Played a lot of baseball, really enjoyed it. Wasn't really like gonna go anywhere with it, just really enjoyed it and whatnot. And rugby kind of came up and ever since started as a fullback. So I played 15, kind of progressed. I got a lower number every year, which was kind of tough. So yeah, I went from fullback to seven, a little bit of seven in high school, and then two. I actually played a bit of tight head in university, and then and two. So I won't hit. I'll never hit one, but I'll probably stay at two for a while.
Uh, was there a figure that was influential when you started playing?
Um, yeah, like it's tough to say. I think all the coaches. I mean, I now that I look back and um, you'll everyone will do every player will pretty much do like a helping coaching session and whatnot. And I think the coaches are actually probably more influential now because like how how much time they have to put in. You do one coaching session and like pretty exhausting in terms of like you're always got your comms up, you're telling people what to do, then you're showing a diagram. Oh, you got to set the drill up over here, and then you got it right. So, I mean, there was definitely some influential coaches in high school. Kevin Julian, who's with the Aurora Barbs now, he was my high school teacher and gym teacher and coach. And then Ian McLeod at Wilfred Laurier. Those two probably some of the most influential, and I think that's just because when you're like that's when you're growing up, they were like I think they were just good. They knew how to coach young kids, young boys, you know what I mean? Um, and I think that's all you can ask for, right? Like, some you look back to some of the drills we probably did were probably crazy, but they were good guys. And I think that's like when you look back at coaches, that's all you think about. Like you're not going to remember, um, you remember the tough times, but I think you'll remember the times you enjoy with each other. So those two would, if I had to have an influential, those two would definitely kickstarted kind of everything and whatnot. So.
What about on the playing side, Andrew? Who's a player that when you were growing up and you were younger that you looked up to, like the player that you always wanted to watch when they stepped out on the pitch?
Yeah, I think for sure, like Aaron Carpenter was one of them for everyone. Jamie Cudmore, John Moonlight was another big one for me. Um, though, like I think it just how rare the Canadian team played. I think it was really cool to watch them play. Um, as a kid, we had like a couple tests every year. You could go. There was probably one test a year. It was Scotland, Ireland, and Italy. I think those are the only rugby games I ever went to in Canada because they don't play much and it's expensive to play in Toronto. So like I think just the just the event itself, you'd get up for everyone. So it would just like it would that would be super exciting to see everyone play. But I think those specifically like Ray Barkle was would be another one. Um, and cool being able to play with a couple of them. So yeah, but I think just the experience and like, hey, like I would all the guys now in the squad are being like, oh, we're going back to Halifax. Oh no, we got to get a game in Calgary, right? Like everybody wants to play, is kind of fighting to play in their hometown or home area. And so, Toronto would be cool. So I think that I really like cherish like being able to go to, Italy, Scotland, Ireland. We need to get back there. I think I might be a little bit biased on that, but we do need to get back playing in, hometowns and getting fans and getting guys playing in front of their friends and family and whatnot. So no, yeah. So you'll learn that I like making my answers nice and long-winded. So I apologize. I took that a little too far there, but yeah, the event of a Canadian rugby game happening in Canada really got me excited.
Nice.
No problem with those long answers at all. Um, just taking a back step, you mentioned going to Wilfred Laurier. What was the deciding factor to attend Laurier and to play for the Golden Hawks?
Yeah. So it would have been Ian McLeod. Like I was actually ready, set, and almost off going to Trent University in Peterborough. Um, I'm an outdoorsy guy, so I kind of like that area up there. And Ian McLeod had called me um, and said, "Hey, I'm coaching at Laurier. Like, would you ever be interested?" And I was like, my sister went to Laurier, so it's kind of a easier segue, I guess. And yeah, that's all she wrote. So I think like August 15th, I put my hand up to go to Laurier and kind of retracted things from Trent, which I mean I felt bad about, especially like, I mean any team willing to take you under their wing, like you owe a lot too. So I think that's kind of where that friendship started with Ian too. He actually cut me from his summer team, which kind of hurt, and then he called me. So I said, "Hey, what's that for?" But no, that's probably where our friendship started at Laurier. So no, it's yeah, it definitely wasn't. I thought I was going to Trent, and 30 days before the school semester started, I was going to Laurier.
You spent 5 years at Laurier and you won a bronze medal in the OUA. First time apparently since the 1980s. So what
Yeah.
was so special about the program and how did it help you develop as a player?
Yeah, it was like super cool. I think everyone just, we probably weren't like the best team, but everyone just like wanted to fight for each other. And I feel like that's the theme in a lot of things, like especially going on with like the arrows and even with the free jacks. Like I think it made it super special. Like we weren't really like that skilled. When you just have a good coach that knows how to push guys and like make guys feel a part of a team, it's super special. When you feel part of a family, it's like when you enjoy going to your family get together on Christmas and you're like, yeah, this is awesome. And I think you start to see that when you're older, right? So yeah, that was super special too, especially because we won it in our last year. It's kind of our last hurrah. I'd love to keep in touch with everyone I went to school with and played with, but it's not like entirely feasible. When's the last time you get every single person in a room was probably that night. And yeah, that was really special for us. That bronze medal, I think I've said it before, but that bronze medal was like gold to a lot of us. So no, it was super special.
Something that's also special that happened last year was that you were inducted into the Golden Hawks Hall of Fame. Can you describe what that honor means to you?
Yeah, like probably a regret of mine. Because I didn't get to go because I was in Boston. So I think it would have been super special to go to that. Uh, just a reflection of my teammates, honestly. Like just was surrounded by really good people in a good environment that I could thrive in, felt like home. Like you had 60 brothers type of thing. And you had your jokesters, you had your serious guys, you had your scholars. And all I can really say it was just like the department was really good with it, good for us and to us, like the athletic department and stuff. Coaches were phenomenal, but I think it's just a reflection of like the guys I played with. Like there's some type of term where you're like you shine bright, when you're lit up by everyone else type of thing. And yeah, honestly just a reflection of those guys. Yeah, I definitely miss my best university days. Tons of friends, and so yeah, no, that would be it, Stu. Just a reflection of all my teammates.
Just moving up the timeline there, Andrew, you were one of the first Canadian players to go from university to pro rugby. So what was that experience like? Were you scouted? What was the pathway like going from uni into pro rugby? Was it a big change, or how was that experience?
It's probably like as smooth as it could be because um, as Jeff would know, that's part, and well, everyone would know, the Blues were that CRC team, the Ontario Blues, which I had been a part of. I'm trying to think, maybe 2016 was my first year. So it, even now, it's nerve-wracking when you're on a new squad. You don't know the guys, and so I was at least somewhat comfortable. I know I was quite young, but I was still comfortable with the guys. I have Rob Brower working as my agent, as he called himself. But no, it was probably as smooth as possible. The toughest part was I was actually still in classes at Laurier, so I was driving out from Waterloo to Whitby, uh, and then sometimes Toronto. So I was making a decently big commute about 3 times a week. So that probably would have been the toughest part, just juggling school and whatnot. But yeah, relatively smooth, I should say, because that was my fifth year that happened. But no, it was definitely like obviously with the physicality and whatnot, that was probably the biggest step, I think, going from university to it's a tough bridge then to go play against, your Michael Shepherds, even your Rob Browers, right? And your John Moonlights who played on that squad. But I was definitely in a good position. Just knowing the guys, knowing the coaches, and knowing pretty much everyone. And so, yeah, it was good that we had that exhibition season, that first kind of link then into the Arrows, which was really helpful because I think we actually only trained twice a week. And then we went down to Glendale, Houston, played at home against the Canada Select side. So yeah, it honestly couldn't have gone any better. Maybe just other than the commute in the tough winter.
So your time with the Arrows starts off pretty well. You make it to the semi-finals of your first season, and then 2020 rolls around, and you get 4 out of 5 wins before the entire league is shut down for the year, and then the decision had been made that the Arrows, instead of taking a year off due to border issues, decide we're going to go down to Atlanta, base ourselves there for the entire season, and play out in 2021. We've spoken to some of the coaches and saying like it was obviously like a difficult decision to make. It was basically like a lose-lose scenario. You're either not playing
Yeah.
at all or you're playing away from friends and family. There was the decision made to not even have tickets to any of the games because there weren't any like family members able to come down, and you didn't obviously want to risk anything like that.
Yeah.
And a very tense atmosphere as the season went on, and the picture was looking worse and worse for like playoff contention. But that's their opinion. As someone who actually went down and experienced it all, can you describe how that season was?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously tough. I had till you've asked that, I hadn't like genuinely thought about it because like for me, honestly, it was great. I'm 24 years old, going down, staying in a hotel, yeah, like a longer hotel stay than you normally would, right? Um, but I can see for like guys with families, like, like that's tough. That's real tough. And especially like not being able to switch off, like you're always around your teammates, right? Like love all my teammates, but we all need an hour off. Um, so yeah, I can see why I actually it was tough. I probably didn't struggle as much as the other guys, but I just think just because I was young, like if I had a family, a partner, like that's tough. That's hard. Kids, that's hard.
Mm.
Um, so I have so much like sympathy for the boys that like struggled and like some that couldn't commit to it, right? And but I think that the organization did the best it could have, like for most circumstances and for how, and like all the money that was spent, right?
Mm.
Like just to play. So yeah, no, it was definitely a difficult situation. But I think from both sides, from the players, like they gave, like I would say we all gave it our all. We
Mm.
we committed, to doing that for 4 or 5 months, and I think the organization gave that back to us. It was just it's when you put the situation on the table, it's tough. It really is
Mm.
tough. And both sides said yes to it, right? And away we went, and like definitely a lot of memories made. Like, wow, this was crazy, like this and that. We'd go to this. We like somehow made acquaintances with like this horse farm that we'd go to, like this horse this horse farm, and like we'd have a barbecue there, and every time like it was fun. We'd have a couple like tough losses, like you'd see in the schedule. Oh, off to Moonlight Stables. It might be the name. I'm not sure, but so there's memories down there. Patty Linnett got a hole in one down there at Wolf Creek. Like it was like, there was, I think looking back at it, there was a ton of good times. It was definitely tough, but yeah, there was good times.
Yeah, I think there was the international players like Joaquin Tuculet and
Yeah, yeah,
other guys. They were able to bring their families and be based in like rental houses. And
exactly.
other players were saying like, "Oh, that was just a great break to like go over on a day off and just have like a cookout out back."
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so we found our ways. It was tough, but we found our ways.
I guess speaking about tough times, I guess in July 2022, you were traded to Utah for 1 week and,
Yeah.
and ended up being traded to New England. Can you just explain like the transfer process for a player in MLR?
Yeah, so yeah, I had vocalized to the team that I just wanted to exercise, just some other options. If I'm being honest. And the manager at the time had asked like, "Hey, any teams like you're interested in?" If I'm being honest, I thought I didn't know I was given a final answer, but again, I was a little bit younger, inexperienced, didn't have an agent. Rob Brower was my agent, as he would say. Um, and I think at that time, like you hear about like, oh, this guy's making all this money and blah blah blah. So I was just curious to at this point you're trying to make a little bit of a living for yourself. So I'd vocalize, oh yeah, like I think Utah would be cool. I think New England would be cool. Blah blah blah. And then I got a text about 2 or 3 days later, hey, we've traded your rights to Utah. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like GM's waiting to chat with you, blah blah blah. So it was kind of out of the blue, if I'm being honest. And I knew something was going to happen. I just to have them been traded. And from what I understood, that you actually need to then work out a deal. You need, in order for the trade to go through, you need to sign on something. And I don't know if that's still the case. But in order for, I guess, me to have played with Utah, I'd need to then agree with to something. Um, and I was just like, hey, like I chatted with the Utah general manager at the time, and like we just weren't aligning. And so got permission from our manager to chat with the Tom Kindly. And just because again, there's like who knows what I just wanted to cover myself. Hey, I got permission, got a like this is he said I could chat with him again because I didn't have an agent. And Tom Kindly, I then had to chat with Utah. And then yeah, I guess a week later went to New England. So if I've learned anything from it, like it's kind of a it's an interesting process. It's a tough process. Feel bad for, guys that were they don't ask for to act like to look around or see if another team's interested where they're just like traded right away because that's tough. You're not making what the big four, five, six sports are making. So yeah, that's my understanding. That's what happened with kind of my situation and of the trade process that you still do need to agree to something. But I'm actually not sure if then if you don't agree to something, what happens if you go back to your old club, if you're kind of up in the air. I'm sure I'm sure one of the other teams could then technically still have your rights. Like, so then you couldn't be a free agent. Like, it's a very, I'm assuming somewhat complex situation. Um, so yeah, that's my kind of experience in it.
Yeah, if I could just know one other question about MLR. Did you have a favorite away city to play in or a favorite venue to play in?
Oh, that's actually an unreal question. Um, yeah, usually for us younger guys, like Austin, great city, like really cool city. Um, they kind of shuffled around, I guess, their venues and whatnot. Seattle's actually probably the best place to play in. Just like such a good environment. Um, yeah, Seattle be the best place to play in. Even I think if you're like, oh, you have an experience to go out after, like, go out to a bar or whatever with the guys after, like I still think you pick Seattle just because the game is so cool. It's usually at night, it's loud. Um, New York was pretty cool when you were playing in Hoboken, staying across the river in Hoboken. That's cool. Um, but yeah, I really do think Seattle would be the best place. Houston's aw any grass field's great. Houston was awesome. Like, yeah, I know it's tough when you're begging for a grass field. Um, and I only got 1 year playing away there, but in at Veterans Memorial in Quincy. I think that's like as a home player, that's the best player to play. But I think being away, we had like a snow game there. It was like sleeting. It was like terrible on St. Patty's Day, and all the New Englanders were there and just going at you and telling you all this crazy stuff. And so, I wish I had like a sunny day there. Like that would have been cool to experience as an away team.
So, during your time with the Arrows, you won the inaugural S. Marcus Calloway Community Impact Award for your work with Optimism Place. Do you mind telling us more about the work you've done with Optimism Place and what winning the award meant for you?
Yeah, so the Optimism Place is a women's shelter in Stratford, and one of my good buddies from Laurier, his wife, his now wife, was she worked there, and we would run the same kind of donation drive fundraising at Laurier. So we did it for what was our first year? Probably 2017, 20, yeah, probably 27, around then. And what's unreal is the team's still doing it. Like almost, I mean, scary to think it's almost 10 years later, but for my sake, getting old, but They're still running it, which is phenomenal. And yeah, it was super cool. And I was chatting with Selena, who I worked with, and I thought, hey, why not introduce this at an Arrows match? And yeah, it was phenomenal. The fans were great. There was actually we did a lot. We did donations, like you could buy a donation and donate it as like goods and stuff. And that would be probably a lot more feasible for like university students and whatnot. But she said like the cash donation was like so generous at the Arrows game. And so it was just kind of awesome to see like what I had done as with my team before at Laurier, and kind of like mesh the two worlds, which was quite cool. Um, so yeah, like that's it's pretty close. It's pretty special to me to be able to do that, and yeah.
I guess moving on to the Free Jacks now. So after 4 seasons with Toronto, you moved over to New England. And what were some of the changes you have, like with the new team, new environment? But then you started with New England.
Yeah, super tough. I was thinking before, like how I'd answer this, because in my head, the two teams are very similar. Like the Arrows, just like a band of brothers, and same with the Free Jacks. It's the same thing. Um, so the big changes just would have been getting to know everybody new, honestly. Um, but one really, really cool thing, like this will be probably a highlight of my life, that the Free Jacks would do is like they theme every season. So they'll have a theme launch. And I think you're starting to see a lot more of it in sports now. See it with the Red Sox. And I don't know if they've actually took the idea from like the Red Sox, but per se, like I know you might watch like an MLB team or maybe even a hockey team. And if like their player of the game will get like a either like a belt or like a hat or something, and that might be themed into their season, right? Like it could be, I don't know. But essentially they would have this, we'd have a huge preseason, and like about a week into it, they would have the theme launch, which is like they're introducing the theme. And it's like everybody, like we need you to do this and everybody buys in. So when I was there, we did our first year we did the road to Fenway, which was just like an ideology of, hey, they've had the Winter Classic, they've had football games, they've had baseball games. Why don't like let's have an unreal season? And you know what? You never know. We could play at Fenway. So you start naming, and this is the one difference, and this will be like my rants. I apologize, but it's unreal. Like it's incredible. It's literally like I think this idea brought into a work environment would be phenomenal. I know that some people want to do their 9 to 5 and go home. I understand that. But like the camaraderie that this built is like, you can't even explain it. So they would build, so the road to Fenway, now they're building all these, our four awards. The defender was the hitter. So he got a baseball bat for the week. The player of the game got a dugout jacket for the week, name stitched on it. The one for the what was the stolen base one? There was a stolen base one. I can't remember what he is. But anyways, it's everything is themed. Everything is themed. Each week when you release the game plan, you had the Kurt Schilling bloody sock game, and the coaches would create this ideology, whether it's like they're just creating this story behind it and like how this relates to us, and it was just phenomenal. Like if you sat back, if you were just like a fly on the wall and heard this, it's like you got 35, 20 to 32-year olds like sitting like just locked in on this conversation. So then our next year was we did the Free Jacks experience. So it was the Hendrick experience. Everybody got on our theme launch. Everybody got a jean jacket vest, and you would put your own patches on these vests. And if you have them on Free Jacks on Instagram, you probably saw some of the guys wearing their jean jackets, and you'd put like your patches that are special to you, and then you'd tell your story, right? Each morning you'd tell your story at our energy bus. Energy bus is just a breakfast. We'd have it every Monday morning. And if you guys want me to stop ranting, you can just kick me off the Zoom. That's fine. But I think it's just so interesting. And each week they'd play a song and they'd be like, this song's us. And I actually heard one of the songs driving to training this morning um, by Oasis. Um, you and I are going to live together. Is it live? You and I are going to live forever? Live Forever by Oasis. And with that, what that was actually our semifinal song for that year, 2024. And the premise behind it was that, maybe I am scared to fly, don't want to live, don't want to die. I think so, those are the lyrics, and they just talked about like, hey, you know what, we might be scared, boys. Like, it's gonna be a tough situation, it's gonna be a close game, it's gonna be a huge game, but like we'll live forever in like history with each other if we go like if we win this game, then we're gonna go to the final. So like they did just such a phenomenal each week was like that, right? From week one all the way to week 18. Um, And so I think that is the one thing that stood out where it was just like, this is different. This is like they had like they're doing it right now. Like I asked the guys, one of the coaches, Josh Larson now, I said, have you guys chatted about the theme? Like this was 2, 3 months ago. He's like, oh, we're all over it. And I'm like, good, I don't want to know what it is. Like I just want to hear it and like because it's huge. So long story short that would be one of the biggest differences, I think. Just having a theme, not so much. I don't think the sense of family was the same at the Arrows. The sense of, and then this might be like the outlier. Like maybe the Free Jacks are the only team that has a theme. I don't like that could be the case too, right? And then it's like, okay, that like there wasn't that much of a difference, but the brotherhood, the camaraderie between the two were the exact same. All those guys fought. Every each of those teams I was on, each guy fought for each other. But that was the one difference, and I think I know I'm weird like that. Like that like makes me like tick. Just stuff like that. I'll admit like that. Oh, you're gonna tell me about a song. Like you're gonna depict a song and tell me how I relate to it. Like even though like hey you could be completely making it up but you're selling me it like I'm buying it and so it was just super cool to see that and I think it was more cool to see like the ages and ranges of guys that were just infatuated with this idea like it was amazing so that would be the main difference too. Sorry for the 10 minute
It's
I'm just trying to
fine.
get I'm trying to give you a bit of insight, it's such a
Yeah.
cool like it's a really cool thing. Um, and it makes you feel special. You're a part of something super cool. Like, so yeah, sorry about my rant.
That culture building though is one of those parts that a lot of professional teams have taken on in New Zealand. You see it with teams like the Crusaders, where it's like build up the
Yeah.
theme, the culture, and get everybody buying into a central theme. But I guess that kind of gets to the next question there, because in the 2023 off season you played with Manawatu, the mighty Turbos.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
how did that opportunity come about, and what was the experience like there? And did they have that culture building aspect to them as well?
Yeah, so Mike Rogers was our defense D coach 2023. He was with the club, I believe, 2021 to 2022, 23, or maybe just the year before that. And he was the coach of the Turbos. And he said, hey, there's an opportunity. Like, do you guys want to come down and like we would look to you to be in like just in like the practice squad. Potential I think the one game he like promised me was it was the Storm Week game. They had Auckland at Eden Park. So I was like, hey, why not? Like that's pretty cool. But like he's like there it's not going to be much money and like it's just like to help us fill bodies and there was John Paul and myself and Cole Keith were like, yeah, we're in. Like, that's awesome. Cam Davidowitz as well. So that's how that opportunity came. Um, so yeah, just super good to have like a connection like that with Mike, and then Tom kindly sorted it out. Tom actually came to the game at Eden Park. We ended up beating Auckland, like it was crazy. It was awesome. So that was a really, really cool experience. I'm super grateful to have been able to do that. But I think because of it's quite condensed season, I think they do have like cultural stuff like that. But didn't see much of it just because it's quite a short season and Mike's first year as head coach. So he had the energy bus, like the breakfast every morning, which is unreal. And did have some other stuff, but like mini team stuff. But I think it's quite hard to build like a full, I guess, itinerary of culture. So yeah, but you could see it, you can feel it around the guys too. A lot of like sense of family down there. So I'm super grateful to be able to have done that.
Well, we've seen a number of Canadian guys go and play in New Zealand, Tyler Ardron, for example. Um, so, what's the sort of most desirable leagues to play in for Canadians? Are you guys looking abroad to different competitions to play in, or is it just something that just pops up and happens as an opportunity? Or what's the sort of pathway there, and what's the what are the competitions that you guys are looking at?
Yeah, I think at this point, especially now with the MLR, like kind of not accepting Canadians as domestic, which I won't comment on. Um, yeah, sorry. Um, uh, I think just anything that kind of pops up, like if I'm being quite honest, and it's tough, I guess, not have because you're in some of those leagues, you'll be considered as international spot, right? And it's tough. So, I mean, yeah, I think you're seeing guys like which I think we've got three or four guys playing in Portugal now, which is amazing on the same team. Like Isaac, Kelly, Sam Miller, one of the other boys over there. I think potentially
Hutchin,
sorry?
Hutchin, Hutchin, his name starts with an H. Can't remember right now.
Yeah, but anyways, getting an opportunity like that, that's like phenomenal for them. So I think that's super cool. But yeah, I think just taking opportunities when they come, just kind of like myself, like it was super tough decision for me, but an opportunity came up and I just had to take it. Um, and so yeah, like I think especially for the guys that are like currently on the team and have really only played in the MLR, just taking opportunities when they come up for us is huge.
Yeah. So, bit of a more somber question. So, in your time at the Free Jacks, you've we all hear the announcement that Bill Webb passes away
Yeah.
in the like August 2023, and despite reassurances from staff on the team that the Arrows would continue, in November it emerges that the team is folding, ceasing operations, and all their rights are reverting back to the league. Now, obviously, you were in the position of you knew that your team was continuing, but getting all that news from like an outsider perspective. I mean, I don't think anyone was really privy to the fact that Bill Webb was in the condition he was, but we'd seen other teams fold, such as the Gilgronis, the Giltinis, and even a week after the Arrows folded, New York folded as well. They were the defending champions, but obviously the Arrows was a team that you had competed on. Yeah, I had friends on the team. How did what did it mean to you when it was announced that the Arrows were withdrawing from MLR?
Yeah, super like really tough, and um probably like tough too because I probably had a decent like personal relationship with Bill too, having gone to Laurier and stuff. So we'd connected Um, Connected about school and alumni and just chatted what we can do for that program and whatnot. And yeah, like I had buddies on that team, I actually could have been like seen myself going back as I got older to play. I think if a team came to Toronto, I think it'd be filled with Canadians now. It's tough. It was super sad. It was really sad. Um, so yeah, yeah, I was pretty hurt, honestly. I the situ by the situation, not by anyone's actions.
Mm.
Um, because especially since I like you hear stuff, but you don't know what's true too. I
Yeah.
think because it's like, oh, you hear that they still have their bid, they still paid to come in, so they could actually come in. So you don't actually know what's true. But yeah, I think of all my buddies that had to go and find a new team, right? Like, and that was, I feel like the one that Toronto in particular, I think was one fan base that was kind of, if you looked at the percentage of it that was friends and family, I would say it would have been a lot, right? Like you got guys like I just think of like, Mike Shepard playing in like um the Ontario League, like with the McCormick Cup, and like all the guys he would have played against that are now going to like watch him, or like buddies of him going to watch him, right? And I think that'd be extremely rare in a place maybe like New York with their clubs like Old Blue, but like so that was super sad because I know that they're like those were fun games. Like we had an unreal time at Lamport at York Stadium. So yeah, it was very tough to hear. Um, Especially after, yeah, I remember Lucas called me when Bill passed. That was super tough. Yeah, I was in New Zealand when it had happened. So yeah, it was super tough because that you built memories with those people, and yeah, so it was hard. And he gave us all a chance, right? Like
Mm.
we're the reason we got to play, and without him, like who knows if we'd be here playing where we are today, right? So yeah, it was sad. I think because it stemmed from him passing. Like again, I'm assuming that would they might correlate, which is tough, right? It's super tough.
Yeah. I can tell from like a podcast perspective, we had interviewed one of the guys that had been selected in the draft that year, and then the next day the news broke. And so we were like,
Yeah.
we had to contact the guy again and be like, hey, we're gonna have to push back your episode for a couple of weeks. And we did a tribute episode to Bill. We
Yeah,
got
yeah.
fans, and we got some stories. Did you guys know about Kickboxer from Hell
Yeah,
prior to his
yeah,
passing?
yeah. I think he actually loved it. Like from what I remember, it would come up in meetings sometimes, and you remember his like big laugh that he'd always have, and showing it, and was like, "Yep, that was me." And it's a good. It'll make you smile and whatnot. But yeah, he was a great, great man. Like I said, gave us all an opportunity. I still remember our first game. I think we tied Houston like in our first. Um, it was that exhibition season we had, and we tied Houston. And when we played, we would get a win bonus if we won the game. Like I think I don't know how much it was, but it wasn't a lot. But still, like, hey, for someone to give their hardworking money to you for winning a game, like, and it's a tie game, first ever Arrows game, and someone's just in the corner like, win bonus, Bill? And he's like, yep, you get the win bonus. And everyone's like, yeah, yeah. So no, he was just again, a lot of good memories with Bill. He was an amazing, super generous man. Um, so yeah, just a sad overall situation. But yeah.
He really was the center of that team as well. I mean, there's been a number of sort of uh options thrown around for new Canadian teams that might enter the league. Is that what's your feeling on those? Do you think that's a starter, or is it something that Canada needs for their pro players?
Yeah, I mean, like think of all the guys, we had 40, and I know I'm not as involved in it, but like I've was in some of the chats with like the MLRPA talking to the MLR, and it's like you had 49 Canadians last year, and I think there's about 10 with contracts this year. And
Mm.
it's like you need like how we gotta get a team going, you know? Like God, because I think you can compete. Like I don't think it's not an issue of competing. Um and I will wholeheartedly say it's very easy for me to say, yeah, you got to get a team. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I understand that there's logistics, but um, yeah, and I think you would honestly see a lot of people come play for that team. Like, I know you got your Rumble and your Fleshers in Chicago. Um, but yeah, I think people would be shocked about how many people would go play for that Canadian team because I genuinely feel the belonging and the sense of community we've built in the current men's squad is huge, and I think guys like really look forward to playing with each other.
I think that's kind of that speaks to Bill's legacy because he
Yeah,
would,
yeah.
how difficult it is actually to get a team
Oh,
into the league, and he was able to pull it all together in sort of adverse circumstances. Uh, just sort of moving on to something, moving along here with the Free Jacks. You've won three MLR Shields with the Free Jacks. Were those all different experiences? What did each one mean to you? Were they kind of was it a new experience? You talked about the culture for each season,
yeah,
but did they all feel different? What was that experience like?
yeah. Yeah, no, the first one was super cool, I think just because it'd been a while, it'd been about 5 or 6 years um since I'd played in that league, right? So you kind of see it build in the competition, you know guys on other teams, stuff like that. Um the second was, yeah, tough. I was going through a bit of mental stuff, so I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I should have. It was tough for me, but again, I think that season was probably my favorite with the theming. Like I just dove right into that theming. That theming was just so cool. I could go for another hour on it. And then I think the to be up there. It would be up there for my favorite, just seeing the first time like other guys win it. Like how much excitement there is. I think that's the best part. Like that would be the coolest part of doing it because um yeah, it was something special. We had 3 years before, and to be able to do it three times just shows how good like the coaching staff and like Tom Kindly is at his job to be able to recruit like good people. And like it, excuse me, I had just like there was not one like bad apple in any of those groups. And yeah, so I think just seeing someone else, like just the excitement, because the city of Quincy was phenomenal with what they did with us. Like they put us on the St. Patty's Day parade in Southie, which is um a pretty crazy parade, I'll just say. Like it's massive. Like people are coming from Ireland to Boston for that parade. Like it's a massive parade. Um and like had a bunch of restaurants, had a bunch of bar hopping. Like the city of Quincy's phenomenal. They're all right behind it. Like it'd be so cool if there was if like, the Arrows could, if they came back and kind of adopted a small little city with like a cozy little stadium and kind of turned it into something like that. Because Quincy would like would really like I would consider myself as like I lived in Quint. I guess we technically kind of lived in Boston, but like yeah, like Quincy's the real like is the city just because they just did such a phenomenal job adopting the team. But yeah, seeing someone else win the Shield or drink off the Shield for the first time, that was the best part about winning it, I think.
How was it seeing Barack win man of the match? You were
Yeah,
there.
good. He he was unreal this year. Even him at Chicago now. Like I wonder if he brought it back to Toronto, what he would do. But I'm super happy for him. But yeah, he was just so good all year. Like just so good. I mean, you could say that about any guy on our team. Like LaRue Milan, Ben Lesage, Paulo Balacana. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, Potty gets hurt. Like probably the best 10 in the league. He gets hurt. Dan Shedsy stands up. You know what I mean? Like he starts playing. And like you haven't missed a single stroke. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, oh, we just had to re-swap our genuinely whole engine because we're playing around this guy. Dan Holland said, "It's like, no, all good. We'll be good." You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy. But yes, sorry, Brock was phenomenal. Like he was probably 6.5 feet in the air, and then someone accidentally took him out on our team, lands on his back. You think he's done. He scores a nasty try later, um, off one of our starter moves, like around the corner. Like, oh, it was just, and he made it no, it was an offload. He made an offload to Paul Balcon, like just crazy. Yeah, what those backs could do is insane.
Coming back to that feeling about, like you said about Quincy, the community and stuff. And continuing with your charity work, you've also taken part in Operation Sock Drop and collaborated with Rose's Bounty to supply meals for veterans in Quincy. What did these charitable endeavors mean to you?
Yeah, I think like probably, I think like everyone in sport, you're kind of given a lot. Like you sometimes it feels like, you're take. Like you get your meal in the morning, take, get your protein, take this. So I think what was phenomenal about all like again, the arrows as well, like people wanting to give back, like guys putting their hands up to give back. So we ran a sock drop thing. That is, we essentially just donated socks to the Boston homeless shelter. And I don't have the numbers on me, but like about sorry, upwards of 1,000 socks. The community's just donating. And Mitch Jacobson, one of our captains, probably one of the best I've ever had. Like he would say, these people are paying to watch us. And not only are they paying to watch us, they're paying for socks to donate. They're buying like someone's putting in easily so like by their self $120 to come to a game probably, right? They got a tailgate, they got to have their drinks with the tailgate and all this stuff. So I think when like you see that and see how much a community gives to you, not that you feel a bit of an obligation to give back. And I think we should as players and whatnot. And so I actually worked quite closely with Ben Lesage. We were roommates, so and the Roses bounty was we would go to a church and pick up meals and deliver them to veterans that lived in Quincy. And I think it's just that was important too because these people that's like such a massive sacrifice they made for their country and for us, and that's the least you could do is help them and give back, and so yeah, and the thing is the team was fully behind it, like guys putting their hands up, signing up, you know what I mean? Like it's phenomenal. Like so yeah, that was super special that being able to do that. Yeah.
You mentioned roommates there, Andrew. Who's the best and the worst there for roommates?
Ben's a good roommate. Yeah, I'll put my hand up. I'll put my hand up. I'm not gonna be the cleanest guy. Do I do my dishes? I'll do my dishes. I'll do my pots. I'll leave the odd wrapper around. Like, I'm probably a 6.5 out of nah, probably a 7. I think I could give myself a B- on the cleanliness scale. Ben's a very clean roommate. He's good. We worked well together. We meshed well. I would say Piers Von Dadelson. He would have been like my rookie with the Canada squad. Piers, he can. I wouldn't say he's in the top 10. Um, but no, I mean that's the unreal thing about that squad is like I think Brock's house was like Brock, Josiah. was it? Yeah, it was Dan Hollenshed and Jone Kuradura from Fiji, and it was just like you got four completely different lads coming in and like living together, and they meshed. Like everyone just made it work. I think that just shows how close all the guys were. So yeah, it was that was definitely funny. Good to see hearing each other bicker about each other. When someone's leaving something out, this guy's getting mad at the other. It was funny.
Segueing into your international duties, you get your first cap for Canada in the old format of the Pacific Nations Cup. And then a few months later, because it's 2019, you're in the Rugby World Cup. So, first of all, what was the experience like of playing international rugby for the first time? And then, how did it feel to go up against New Zealand and South Africa so soon into your international career?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so quick. Like, it's so fast. The guys are so smart. Like, I still feel behind. Playing against the All Blacks in South Africa, we were pretty much playing 15 on 14 because I was out there. Like, I was doing nothing. Like, just watch it. Like, that was just quick, right? But no, super, super special to be able to do that. But yeah, it's international rugby is very quick, and I think at that point, even I would say like at that level of the MLR, I think it's definitely grown to a high speed, but just showed you like how far the MLR has come because I think that jump to international is very significant.
Hmm.
But I would say the MLR is a quick game today. So yeah, it was definitely an eye opener. I got I was definitely a bit heavier because there was a clip of me trying on Schlot Britt's jersey and it didn't fit and people were fat shaming me and so it kind of pushed me into losing a bit of weight. For the better, I needed it. So yeah, it was amazing. That was a very special time.
So obviously, all of us are following, like we all want Rugby Canada to do well and, Canada to get back onto the international stage. And, we've been following for the last year about Canada getting back into the World Cup and, the success on the women's side and everything. Has there been any kind of top-down strategy from Rugby Canada that is kind of trying to boost the team back to where everybody thinks it should be? Or is that just kind of in a rebuilding phase and people are just doing their jobs, or is there an overall message there?
Yeah, I think well, like we've already kind of touched on it, just like getting guys playing more high level rugby, which is now like the toughest thing to say. You know what I mean? Because it's like we just had 35 guys like out of job. Um, so I think that actually almost it even brings an even bigger issue to like the stage because it's like okay, we're a year out from this World Cup, and it's like we're trying to get our boys playing. I think it's actually amazing for like the club scene because guys are gonna be playing in the club and it's gonna improve that league. But it's super tough because I think we just need that exposure at like consistently playing rugby all the time. You know what I mean? Even like in France, it's like you have a 30 game season. Like they get 2 months off, right? They're always constantly playing. So I think that's what's super tough now, unfortunately, with all the circumstances.
Yeah, and I guess bringing people back together from overseas and trying to get a cohesive squad and that culture together is tricky.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Especially like when you have guys that are like in rugby, and then it's like, well, some guy like the genuine reality of it is like now like some we have to work. Like yeah, at the end of the day, you got to pay the bills, right? Like so it's like, excuse me, sometimes like you might have to say no to rugby, right? Like I remember even playing with the Arrows, there was guys who were like, no, I actually can't play rugby this year. Like I have to pay the bills. Um, So yeah, that might be a hurdle, but I think there's a lot of trust in like our coaches and managers that were like that will be like not a big leap to come into. That like we should be able to blend quite well.
In 2023, sadly, Canada was not successful in qualification for that World Cup. So obviously that was a downer for you. And I guess not to put salt on the wound, but you were unavailable in 2027 for for this past year in the Calgary qualification game for obvious reasons. But how did it feel to just even be able to watch the game and from afar and seeing Canada get on top of the US and qualify for the 2027 World Cup?
Yeah, it was like it was that was probably the toughest. That would have been probably the hardest decision of my life because it was like the reason I was unavailable. It was just because I had an opportunity over here, um, which was yeah, I thought that I needed to take it, and I think for myself, selfishly, like that, it was a huge opportunity. Um, but it was so hard watching the game. It was yeah, it was a super hard time. My dad actually had passed away the day at the day after, sorry, the day before the game. Um, so even with that, like I was like, oh, that was the one place I actually wanted to be. Like I wanted to be there with the guys because I was like, I know I'd be good. I'd be with my boys. But I was, in France, like alone watching the game. So I was like, I'm in my feels, like, right? Like, and so just so much relief when they won. Like it was unreal. And they were so good. Like they were the better team. So yeah, it was super hard. And I mean, I had faith in the guys. I wasn't like, oh, I wanted to be there wholeheartedly. But I knew that like these guys are going to get the job done. So yeah, it was an incredibly hard time period. But yeah, I like they were the better team, and it was like, yeah, we got it done, and onwards and upwards kind of thing. So,
Very sorry to hear about your father in that time.
oh no, hey, all good, all good. Just like, hey, that's life, Like, sorry, I didn't mean to drop that on you. I just like it was it's important to the context, I think, because yeah, I don't really talk to like up anyone up above much, but I just said, you know what, Dad, if we, you need to do something, we get this dub, which is huge, and it happened, and which is unreal. So, no, it was good. It was unreal.
Yes. Speak about the Canada jersey, though, is when can we expect you back in the Canada jersey, and what kind of communication have you had with Mian over this period of time?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, s- good comms with Steven, which has been awesome, and I'll explain what I mean by that. I think being away from not playing even in November, um, like has shown me how much it like means to me to play for Canada. So I've told him, and I think going forward, because I'm just signed here, I was just a medical joker, so technically part of my contract, like I have to be available. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm covering an injury. So I did say to Steven, I said, look, like I'm being away, like has shown me like, I want to be available for selection. I got to play with the guys. Not got to, I have to be able to put my hand up to be selected and stuff. And so, yeah, I think going forward, I want to be playing in a place where I'm able to be released for the games and whatnot. So, which has been awesome because he's been kind of helping me navigate through that. And again, my current club is I knew that was part of the deal that I wasn't able to play just because I was covering an injury, which I accepted, right? And it's totally all good. But being away from playing with the guys has shown me like how much I miss them, how much I want to, play for my country and whatnot. So yeah, so hopefully in the future, for next year, finding somewhere that allows me to do that, which is hopefully great.
All right. So for those not aware, you're currently in Valence, playing with the Valence Romans. And we've discussed that that's the reason why you weren't available to play for Canada. But again, similar question with um, Manawatu and the Free Jacks and the Arrows and stuff. How did this opportunity come about? Because obviously, as a medical joker, it means something must have gone wrong for someone else for it to be possible for you.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of a crazy, not like crazy story, but I don't have an agent. I'm using one now, and I got a message. I'm actually getting taped for Spain in the summer, and got a message, and it was like, oh, like, would you be interested in this opportunity? And it's like, we're kicking off in 2.5 hours, and it was like all this stuff, and it was like, so yeah, it was just a lot because it's like I'm like, oh, is this gonna be the last game I play? Because I saw in the details it was like can't play for Canada, and which again is like they put it out there, and we're transparent about it. So it was super tough. That's how it kind of came up, and my mom had always told me like, don't if you don't lie to it, they can't get in trouble if you don't lie. And so I just felt like I had to tell Steve, and I had to tell even some of my buddies like, hey, like I'm in, I'm in this predicament, like, and everyone reacted like, like was awesome. They were just like, they're like, we're gonna support you, whatever you think's best for you. So yeah, it was definitely out of the blue. And the timing might not have been the best, but like I said, I think I needed to take the opportunity. It was just too good to turn down, and it's been awesome. The team's awesome. The coaches here are great. Everyone involved. The teammates are all like, yeah, it's been a pretty smooth transition. My French isn't the best, but I took up to grade 12, so I have a decent idea. But I mean, like, I'm a pretty like personal guy. I want to be able to ask my teammates, like, how many brothers and sisters you got, like, what it like, right, and stuff like that. Even that, you know what I mean? I think you take for granted language, and communicating. Like, if we did this podcast and it was in a different language, it would probably be what, 8 seconds? We would greet each other and ask how each other are, and then that's it. So, um, I can't thank, yeah, the teams here is great because they have French lessons for us. They're patient with us when we don't understand, right? Like, um, so yeah, it's been an amazing experience. It's been an amazing experience. Truly grateful for them and kind of everyone along the way. So
What has been the biggest improvement you've noticed in your game since you've arrived in France?
yeah, I think, and honestly, I think kind of like going along to that point is genuinely probably just having to like keep my head up and like see the game better. Because it's like you have, so instinctively your teammates are going to talk in French, right? So it's like I don't understand French. It wouldn't matter if you said, I mean, if you could say like gauche or droite, like I understand left and right, but you know what I mean? Like to an extent, if you were to say something, you could know, like, if there was, three people in a room, you could say, hey, the guy with the white long sleeve shirt, you know what I mean? I might not have any idea. So I think having to like see the game kind of evolve, come in front of me. I'm also playing in like a position I've never played before on the field, like I'm out wide and kind of the tracks. So I've never, I think again having to like increase my catch pass, working with the backs on little like kind of like half attack plays off of like a forward carry. I'm just used to playing with the forwards. Um, so that's been a huge adaptation for me. So yeah, I'd say those two things. I don't know if my catch pass has improved, but definitely having to read the game kind of visually. And yeah.
Do you like that part of the game, getting involved on the attack side more? Does it suit your game? You think your attacking skills have improved there?
It's Yeah, it's tough for me because it's like I think I've always played at like a heavier weight. Like I've been used almost like as a third kind of prop type of thing. Um, so I think it's actually really good for me right now because it's like you can appreciate like I'm like I appreciate the boys on the edge. I can appreciate like someone's always got to be getting back for to the ruck after a box kick. You know what I mean? Like I've never had to do that before, and now I'm like, wow, like I also really appreciate the hard work that the boys do in the middle. Like, I'm in probably a lot less contact out on the edge. Um, so yeah, I don't know if I think I would be more effective in the middle. Excuse me, but I'm definitely appreciating like the differences in styles of the game, which is kind of cool to see. I mean, yeah, so late, like I'm not late, but like being 29 and seeing the different, it's almost like a different ball game, really. Like,
Hmm.
so it's cool.
Speaking about moving forward, like in the future, what about any prospects about staying in France or in Europe on a professional level?
Yeah, and, honestly, nothing yet. Hopefully in the near future, if something comes, just kind of taking it each day at a time. Who knows what will pop up. My next probably biggest thought is just being available for selection in June, July for Canada. So like that's probably what my next exciting piece is for now. Now that nothing's come up now.
Well, hopefully that changes.
Yeah, yeah.
And so looking back, you've played rugby at university, were immediately then able to join a professional team. You've lifted shields with New England. You're currently in France, and during your time being a professional, the availability for rugby players has changed, especially for Canadians. It suddenly increased, and over the off season, this year has rapidly decreased again. But is there any general information or advice you'd give to the young Canadian players looking to push into professional men's rugby?
Yeah. Geez, I swear I was like just a kid, a couple days ago. Um, I think it's like you hear I'm not relating myself at all to any of the podcasters I listen to. I like listening to the Spit and Chicklets guys because they'll have hockey players on and a lot of them are out of the game now and they talk about life and stuff and I think a lot of guys my age are thinking about that, which is important. Um, but they talk about like being young and like enjoying the moment and with that unfortunately like sacrifice, right? Like I think even like you look at the Atlanta year, like guys sacrifice being away from their kids and families, and so that's probably like the biggest thing, sacrifice. Like there was a lot of times, and I'm not it's not a it was my choice, I'm not going to be like, oh, pity me, I didn't get to go to a party at Laurier, you know what I mean, at this time. But that was the case, right? It was like I'm going to choose, I had to go to Whitby on a Sunday or Burlington, either or. Um, and I couldn't go out the Saturday. Like that was just the reality of it. My reality, which I chose, no one else's fault. Um, so I think and especially now with no MLR team, it's going to take hard work, like which always is a standard. I think as Canadians, like we like should like hold our hat on that. Like we are hard workers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting with no MLR. So I can't give like and I won't give like a pathway in which I need to take. But yeah, I think it's gonna take sacrifices. It'll probably take a lot of like uneasy nerves in terms of like you might be the new guy somewhere. You might not, especially with the MLR being out, right? You might have to be the new guy at a new club, or I think I love seeing the young guys, go overseas and playing with the club there. Like that's super cool. I think that's something I wish I not wish I did, but it would have been a cool experience as, a 20-year-old or 22-year-old doing that. And that's amazing. Like I'm so happy for those guys that get to do that. But I genuinely think it comes down to and again, like relating it to the podcast thing, you hear a lot of people say like it comes down to like hard work, which is like, hey, we're born with that. Canadians are born with that. So good, you got one of the things. And the second would be just like sacrifice. And the sacrifice is funny because right now it's like I'm losing weight in France. Like I'm on a little bit of a diet journey, and it's like, yeah, I got to sacrifice, maybe only having a treat 2 times a week rather than like four, right? So like you sacrifice in your own ways, right? So yeah, I would say, Stu, those are probably the two things. Sacrifice might come in, hey, you might have to sacrifice having a nice, great six-figure job right out of high school to maybe, working in a restaurant and part-time and playing rugby part-time. Like, if you want it, you'll find it. Like, if you really want it, you're gonna find a way to get through life.
Mm.
Your parents will help you. Like, my parents were great to me in terms of like helping me where to go. This is what you need to do. Um, so yeah,
But
again, my 10, ten.
you've obviously had lots of rich and rewarding experiences through rugby, so that's
Oh,
the payoff, right?
phenomenal. Like, it's so funny. Like, we don't, a lot of us like don't play this game to make a lot of money, but like we're so rich. I look at me and my buddies, we are so rich, like all the memories we have, all the things we've done, all the countries we've been able to travel to, like we are so lucky. So yeah, we owe so much to so many people. We genuinely do. I think that's why it's like you should give back. You should have a coach, like you should, coach when you can, because we are just so rich on because of other people on like non-monetary things, if you know what I mean. If you understand what I'm kind of saying.
Yeah.
Just the experience of that. And then I think, I'll tip my hat to I think my friends, that's where you get rewarded that way from that sacrifice and the hard work. But yeah, we're not sorry, maybe the terminology is we're not rich, no, we're not wealthy, we're rich. I might be saying it wrong, but yeah, we're not wealthy, but we're rich on memories. And I mean, you see it in life, people are gone too soon. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Like why would like I don't know. I'd rather, grind and play rugby and listen to someone relate a song to a week that we're playing a game away. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just like awesome. So yeah, my 10-minute you won't even be able to upload this on Spotify. I've been yapping too much here.
Well, I think that sentiment is a great place for us to end this interview. And Andrew, again, thank you for joining us. For all of you watching and listening, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to check out more, as well as our written pieces, on our website, larougerugby.ca. You can find our podcast on Spotify and on YouTube at La Rouge Rugby. We're also available across social media, including Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and Blue Sky, all at La Rouge Rugby. Andrew, can people find you on social media?
Yeah, yeah. If you look up my name, you'll probably find me there. But yeah, that's what I got. But no, guys, thanks so much. I mean, I think just you folks interviewing and people and hearing different stories and just seeing different characters is super appreciative. I think on a rugby level, especially in Canada, trying to grow our great game, that we owe so much to. So I thank you guys ton for what you do. 200 and now you coming up on 250 episodes here?
We've just surpassed 250. I believe
Wow.
this is 256. But thank
That's a
you.
lot of hours. So no, we do all appreciate it. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Jeff, where can people find you on social media?
First, thank you, Andrew, for doing this. And you can find me on X at WP Rugby Jeff.
And Ed, where can people find you?
Yep, I would also echo the sentiments there. Thank you, Andrew. Rugby101_25 on Facebook and YouTube.
And you can find me across social media at Hardman, spelled H4RDMAN. And that is where we're going to end this episode. Andrew, again, thank you for joining us. Jeff, Ed, thank you for joining me. And thank you all for joining us for another episode of the Rouge Rugby podcast, where we talk about real Canadian rugby. We hope you can join us again next time.